I'm here with a very simple message for Saskatchewan residents. Those who haven't made their minds up yet about who they're going to vote for this election. And those who voted for the Sask Party in the past. I say this to all of you and to those who are standing behind me today. We can win this. We've all met so many people who are fed up with the many ways that the Saskatchewan Party is leaving Saskatchewan people behind. People who are working good jobs, still struggling to pay their bills. People with tears in their eyes, waiting for months in pain for health care that should be available here at home. And people all across this province who know that the Sask Party has stopped working for them. These same people right across this province tell me that after 17 years of the Sask Party, that they're ready for change. But they still wonder, some of them, does my vote matter? I'm here to tell you today, your vote matters. Your vote is powerful. This election is not about Team Orange or Team Green. This election is about Team Saskatchewan. Together, we can fix healthcare. Together, we can make life more affordable. And together, we have the power to change a government. The momentum, friends, is real. We are so close. We have a record number of signs, a record number of volunteers, and a record number of donors. And this race is tighter than any in memory, both in the cities and in rural ridings. Together, we can win. And I say this to those voters out there in Saskatchewan wanting change. We don't have to agree on everything to agree on this. We all deserve better. We have a plan. We have a plan to hire more nurses and doctors that our healthcare system desperately needs, so Saskatchewan people can get the healthcare that they need and we can fix the emergency room crisis. We have a plan to make life more affordable for Saskatchewan families. We'll cut the gas tax on day one, and we'll take most PST off of groceries and children's clothing by Christmas. We have a plan to grow the economy across all sectors to ensure that we have good jobs here at home. And you and I know that in a province with our history, with the opportunity that we see in every corner of this province, with the hardworking people we have in this province, Saskatchewan should not be in last place. But that's where Scott Moe and the Sask Party have taken us. People are looking for change. We can change a government. All it takes is your vote. And today, I'm asking for your support. On October the 28th, vote for the Saskatchewan NDP. Saskatchewan, it's time for change. I'm happy to take any questions that you might have.
Is rural Saskatchewan ready for change?
People right across this province are ready for change. And when I speak of those who wonder if their vote matters, I often think of those who are in rural Saskatchewan. And we've had many instances of being on the doorstep in rural communities, hearing from people that tell us, look, I can't get health care. I never know when our emergency room is going to be closed. We've had cuts in our school. I can't afford my commute to work. Those people say, I'm ready for change. I want change, but they wonder if any of their neighbors are saying the same thing. We're hearing more and more people speak out, and we're saying to all people in this province, we are seeing growth right across the province, a growing number of people who are being left behind by this government and who are looking for change. I know we have more ground to make up in rural Saskatchewan. I understand that. Our message, our plan, was created with all people in this province in mind, with the feedback from people in every area of this province.
What makes today special in your campaign?
Well, every day is special on a campaign, but I'll tell you what, driving up and seeing all of these people here willing to stand up for the change, the positive change that they know Saskatchewan needs is pretty special. See my mom and dad, my husband here, friends new and friends I've known for a long time, my team behind us. This is a special day. We're also going into Thanksgiving weekend, and we know a lot of people are wondering, as I said, can they really do this? Is change possible? I know people across this province are looking for change. What we're here today is to say to people in this province, it is possible. We are so close. We have momentum. Your vote matters. Please understand, you need to get out and vote. We deserve better than this. And on October the 28th, this team behind me and so many more across this province are ready to work with you to get Saskatchewan out of last place and get us back to being leaders in this country.
So we're saying it's harder for people now to get places to rent because of the way SIS has been changed, in particular with the payments not going directly. Should we put that back to the
Yes. And, this was another tragic, frankly, instance of the Sask Party being told time and time again by Saskatchewan people that these changes to the SIS program were a terrible idea. We had everyone from anti-poverty activists to landlords predicting, unfortunately, exactly what happened, that we'd see a rise in homelessness, that we'd see people evicted. They went ahead anyway. This is a government, again, after 17 years that has clearly stopped listening to Saskatchewan people. Scott Moe says he wants to run on his record. Let's talk about his record.
It is. The cut to SDC.
No, he did a whole bunch of things.
What would you do for the most economically challenged people who are unhoused?
We've got a plan that we revealed. It probably seems longer ago now than than it was, to restore fairness for renters, for landlords, reversing the changes to the SIS program. We have 3,000 housing units in this province right now. Talk about spending more and getting less. We have 3,000 housing units in this province right now at a time when people are going without housing, people are losing limbs, freezing outdoors in the wintertime. Scott Moe and the Sask Party have allowed 3,000 units to sit empty, not only not providing housing to people, but foregoing $200 million that should have gone into provincial coffers from rent and utilities. Again, on front after front, this is a government that ignores the needs of Saskatchewan people, doesn't listen to those on the front lines, spends a lot of money, wastes a lot of money. They can defend a $1 million trip to Dubai or sightseeing around Paris or a flight to North Battleford for $3,000. But they have failed to make investments in things as critical as housing, fixing healthcare, they've taken us to last place, or our kids' classrooms, or offer relief up until the eve of an election. Again, this is why so many people are looking for change. Certainly the people behind me, but people out there who've never voted for us before. What they need to know is not only is change possible, the positive change that we're talking about, a government that works for the people of this province, not their own political interests. It's possible. But with their support, getting out and voting, the silent majority in this province needs to stand up and be counted, because we can. We can win this, but we can't do it without them.
For rural seniors who struggle to make it to the medical appointments because they don't have transportation, what do you plan?
One of the things that we need to ensure is that people, regardless of where they live in this province, that they have access to care. Sometimes that means coming into the city, but that also includes ensuring that those healthcare services in rural Saskatchewan are open and available to those who live in those communities. In the last few years, we've seen 58 different communities with their services or their emergency rooms cut. Those seniors need to be able to access care, and they need to be able to access care as close to home as possible. Right now, they can't predict if their ER is going to be open or not. This government has taken us to last place, and that means all people, and especially seniors, but so many, are going without the care they need. We need to staff up, and we need to ensure that people can receive that care.
Or where people need public transportation to access a specialist in the city, or a student needing to get to university, would you do anything to restore public transportation?
We know that we need to ensure that people can get to medical appointments that they can visit. Right now, the plan is to ensure that we stabilize those healthcare services right across the province so that people can get care closer to home. I was talking just recently, actually yesterday, to a number of people who were in Saskatoon for dialysis, making that trip 3 times a week, if you can imagine. We know there are people in rural Saskatchewan who have to do the same. We need to start to ensure that people can get the transportation that they need. But I think this is a cautionary tale again with STC. Remember, this is a government that promised hand over heart during an election that they weren't going to touch STC, that it was an essential service, I believe the minister said. And after the election, they cut STC. And once we lose those services, those things that people have worked so hard to build, they're very hard to build back. This is a government that says one thing during an election and delivers something very different after an election. I don't think the people of Saskatchewan are going to be fooled again by Scott Moe bearing gifts on the eve of an election.
That's right. Would it be too hard to bring STC back?
I'm suggesting that right now our priority areas for spending are a healthcare system that is on its knees. It's at a breaking point. And kids in classrooms today who aren't going to get a second chance at that good start that we want all of our kids to have in schools. We also know that people need some affordability relief. We need to address rising rates of crime, mental health, and addictions in our communities. There is so much that Scott Moe and the Sask Party have broken in our province. I need to be clear with the people of this province. These are our priorities. These are our investments. We are not going to be able to fix everything right away in this province. But we've made clear our plans, the costing of those plans, a plan to get us back to balance and still invest in the things that people care most about in this province. The easiest thing for me to do on the eve of an election is to promise a bunch of things. I'll tell you what, I don't make promises I can't keep. No, we're not. And again, this is a premier. Mr. Moe pretends he wants to run on his record. I've seen him do everything but. I've seen him run from his record. I've seen him point fingers at other places. I've seen him come up with desperate lie after desperate lie about us and our plan. We've been very clear about our plan. I'm very capable of speaking for myself and what our plan is.
Carla, part of Scott Moe's announcement today was allowing to designate police as representatives for businesses, and that would allow police to remove people from small businesses if they're causing a nuisance without the business owner's permission. I'm just wondering what you think of that.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to fully look at what they were proposing today. Again, I would say that this is a government that on the eve of an election that has seen crime right across our province grow and grow, has done nothing about a growing mental health and addictions crisis, comes out with items on the eve of an election. I would like to know if they talked to those on the front lines, because we know they didn't when it came to their marshal service. A plan to invest or have a new pet police force 4 years into the future at a time when crime was growing in our province, when we needed boots on the ground right away, when we needed to also address the mental health and addictions crisis. And as I've said all along, yes, we need to get tough on crime and ensure that we have the officers that are needed today, not at some time in the future, in new cars and new uniforms. But we also need to address those root causes of crime. The mental health and addictions crisis that we see in this province. So I haven't had a chance to look specifically at what Scott Moe unveiled today. We are looking at what is effective and what works to reduce crime and to ensure that people in this province don't go without the care that they need.
Scott Moe also said the RCMP's union, the National Police Federation, is against the marshals because they want more officers and more union dues. Can I get you to respond to this?
He's becoming predictable. Let's say this. Saskatchewan people, Saskatchewan RMs, Saskatchewan communities, they know we need more officers on the ground. Scott Moe, it's funny, he promised to deliver 100 new RCMP officers to work to ensure that those were filled. He hasn't fulfilled that promise. We have a plan to invest in our existing police forces to ensure that we make good on those 100 police RCMP officers here in the home of Depot to ensure that we've got those officers on the ground. You know, and Scott Moe, again, instead of fixing the problem, he reaches for division, he reaches for dismissing very real concerns from officers for sure, but from communities right across this province. Again, it's no wonder we're in the position we are in this province when you have that kind of leadership. People deserve better. We're looking for change. We're going to deliver change.
Just with respect to some of the momentum that you're seeing right now, is there a particular part of the province, rural, urban, that you're really trying to focus? Looking at the general list of where candidates are, it's all throughout the province right now, but I'm wondering if you're maybe feeling a bit more secure in the cities and if you're trying to focus a little bit more in more rural constituencies.
I am not taking anything for granted, and I do know that our message is built on input from people right across this province. I do not want to see a province that is pitting one area against another, one group against another. Our message is for all people in this province, as I said, no matter where you live, urban or rural. Those who have voted for us back to the days of Tommy Douglas and those who have never voted for us before, to young people who are voting in their first election. My message is for all of them. And if I have the honor of serving as the Premier of this beautiful province, I commit to be a Premier for all people in this province, for all areas of this province. That's not what we're seeing right now.
You mentioned this is a tighter race than ever before. I'm just wondering what evidence you have that suggests that.
Yeah. And I mean, we've, of course, seen some public polling, but I don't put a lot of stock in. I mean, polls will go up and down. I think you're cautioned very early and wisely in politics to not let your fortunes rise and fall based on polls. This team behind me, they're knocking thousands and thousands of doors every day, and we have been, not just months. We've been knocking doors right across this province for years. We knew 2.5 years ago that we needed to be out in every corner of this province. We knew that in the by-elections, where we saw people working so hard in every area of this province. That is the evidence that I'm going on, what we're hearing from people on the doorstep, the number of people who are reaching in saying, we want to take a sign, we want to volunteer, we want to donate. The number of people who walk by and say, keep going. I'll tell you one story, and I've told this story before, but this is the response that we've been seeing out there on the doorstep. Watched a blue van drive by us and flip a U and come back, and I saw the passenger hop out and march right up to us. I think we were out with Sally that day, and I didn't know what was coming. You know, things have been pretty friendly, but you never know. And as this gentleman got closer to us, I could see that he had frustrated tears in his eyes. And he said, I'm so happy to see you guys out here. And I've passed by your team before, but I wanted to stop this time and just say thank you. We see how hard you're working, and we need change in this province. And before he left, after he told me about his wife, who was a teacher, and his kids, and a whole bunch of other things, he said, just keep going. To him and to all the people in this province, I promise we will. We will just keep going right up until October the 28th. And should we have the honor of serving as government for the people of this province, we won't stop until we deliver that change, that positive change that people in this province have been waiting far too long for.
Hear, hear.